What's going on, my soul family? Welcome back to another episode of the Awake with Jake show. On today's episode, I'm going to be dropping in and sharing with you 6 things that kill romantic relationships. Now, I know from personal experience that romantic relationships can be very challenging. So throughout this episode, I'm going to be helping you to break down the barriers that cause you to have failed relationships. And believe me, I've had many failed relationships in my life, and they can be very, very grueling and painful to continue to go through a toxic relationship cycle. And I've been in many of those. So if you've related to this, then I feel that this episode is really going to help you, because these are things that I wish I learned many years ago. Now, before I get into this, I just want to share with you that we are about to hit 1 million downloads on my podcast, The Awake with Jake show. And because you're a listener and supporter of my show, I'm just asking you a small favor to help share out this podcast, any episode that resonates with you, to help me reach that 1 million mark. And it means the world to me. I started this podcast just a little over 2 years ago with a dream and a vision to help people, to help inspire people, to help people heal, to help people to awaken. So your love and your support means the world to me. Thank you so much once again for being here, and I honor you for doing the work to heal, to awaken, because ultimately what you're doing within yourself right now is helping, being of service to the world, to other people. And that is so beneficial and so valuable for not only you, but the planet and the people we share this planet with, and the entire universe. I just want to remind you that sometimes this healing process is very hard, and it may feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But I promise you, the more you keep going inward and releasing what no longer serves you, the more you activate that divinity within yourself. So let's get right into today's episode. The first thing that I have here is carrying old wounds and projecting them onto your partner. Now, I want to just give you kind of a breakdown what I mean by this, so I can really drill this one home, because this one really is important. When you feel anger, sadness, shame, guilt, fear inside of yourself, and that's a predominant vibration within yourself, you are going to project that onto other people. You're going to especially project that onto your partner. In romantic relationships, there is such an electrical charge, there's so much energetic charge between the two people that there is great opportunity for growth, but a lot of people avoid it because it's uncomfortable and they don't want to be seen fully. So if you don't feel worthy of love, or you don't want to be seen fully because you're afraid to be vulnerable, or you're still carrying guilt or shame, you are going to bring that into the relationship. And not to say that you can't work through this stuff in a relationship, because if both people are aware and awakening and going through the awakening together, you can really help each other to ascend. But that doesn't mean you get caught in this role of trying to fix each other and heal each other and do all this stuff. Okay, you're not your partner's therapist, and your partner is not your therapist. So it's important to first do the work on yourself and continue to do the work on yourself. Just because you got into a relationship doesn't mean you just fall off and you just stop working on yourself. You stop exercising, eating healthy, meditating, doing the inner work, doing the healing work, learning, growing as a person, as a being, as a soul. And I see so often, and I did it a lot myself, is getting into a relationship and you just give up on what you were passionate about, what inspired you. And when you do that, you start to really kind of deter away from your sole purpose of being here. So by carrying old energetic blockages and wounds into the relationship, it's going to be very hard for you to open fully to the essence of love with a partner, because you're not feeling safe. And if you don't feel safe in the relationship because of past trauma that you're still carrying, that residue of old trauma, then you're not going to open fully to the relationship. Maybe you were really abused in your previous relationship, or maybe you have some type of inner child wounds that you're holding on to, or sexual trauma that's causing you to close down. Or you have old stories in your mind, how you should never settle. You have commitment issues and you're afraid to commit, or you're emotionally unavailable. I think a lot of people have something that they're struggling with. And I think the first thing and the fastest way to heal that is to get radically honest with your partner, to be honest with your partner in a way where you share with them what you are feeling, but from a place of truth, not from a place of being emotionally imbalanced, not from a place of shame or anger, from a place of this is how I feel and this is what I'm really struggling with. And I think that by communicating that into the relationship, you offer a sense of safety and not judging each other for sharing and being vulnerable. Because when a person is open and vulnerable with you and you judge them and use that against them, they may not want to open to you again. They may close down to you. So it's very important to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, and I'm asking you right now, what do I need to release so I can show up more fully, more authentic, and more loving in my relationship? And whatever that is for you, if it's your insecurity, if it's your jealousy, it's your shame, whatever you're holding on to, start to bring your awareness to that so you can begin releasing that from you. Number 2, making your partner your sole purpose. Making your partner your sole purpose. I can remember so many times in my life, one of my guy friends would get a girlfriend and we'd stop hearing from him. He would just fall off. And we're like, what happened to him? Where'd he go? Oh, he got a girlfriend. And a lot of times in life, when we get into a romantic relationship, we're so excited, which is awesome. We're so excited. We're so in love. We're head over heels. But we give up on everything that we were once passionate about. The things that fueled us, the things that made us feel alive, even hanging out with our friends or doing things that we love. Whatever hobbies or passions or our true purpose for being here that we once had, we now start to drift away from that. And we've forgotten our true essence for being here, which is really ultimately to awaken and to help others to awaken and to be of service. Now, when you give up on your purpose, that is very unattractive to your partner because you start to smother them. And when you make your partner your sole purpose in life and the only reason for your existence, you become very attached and very desperate for them to love you. And when they don't love you and not everything's all perfect, you start to fall apart. Do you see how your emotional attachments can create a lot of pain in your relationships if you're smothering the person, constantly making everything all about them? This is why I invite you to continue on your path alongside your partner, not making your partner your entire purpose. They should absolutely be a part of your life and a part of your purpose. But when you make them your sole purpose and your sole reason for being here, your existence, you're going to start smothering them. You will start smothering them if you can't continue to align with your purpose, with your passions, and why you are here. Number 3, having unrealistic expectations. Now, this is a big one. Because we live in the world of social media and Instagram models and Instagram couples, everything just looks all good and great because we see everybody's highlight reels. Okay? We see everybody's highlight reels and we start comparing our lives to that, our relationships, our bodies, our level of success to other people's highlight reels. Now, I want to just plug something here and I want you to think about this. If you watch a movie and that movie makes you feel a certain way, maybe you feel anger towards a character or you feel love towards another character, don't you think that people can do the same thing on social media? Don't you think that people are evoking certain emotions in you on social media of what they want you to see? Now, when you get caught in this trap, is what we can call it, a trap of the ego, seeking comparison, seeking validation from other people, you start to really take away your power. You start to dim down your light. When you live in this world of comparing yourself on social media or putting expectations on the relationship that this is how it should be, this is how my partner should look all the time. The thing with relationships is a filter cannot hide the truth of your essence. A filter cannot hide the truth of your essence. Photoshop cannot hide the truth of your essence. Because at some point, and you may be really good at hiding it, you may be really good at masking your pain, but at some point, that pain is going to surface in the relationship and you are going to be seen as raw and vulnerable. Now, you may run away and abandon the relationship before you're seen as raw and vulnerable because you don't want to be seen fully. And you'd rather be seen as this perfect Instagram model or perfect Instagram person. I'm just using Instagram right now because it's very flashy and showy. We have to be realistic in the sense of what it really involves. And not to say that your relationship can't be beautiful, because it absolutely can, but have it be beautiful in your own standard, not comparing it to other people, because you're not seeing what really goes on behind the scenes in those relationships. And I would say almost all of those relationships, you're seeing what they want you to see you. And in that sense, you have to see yourself fully. You have to be able to see yourself, your true, authentic self, because no one is you. You are unique to this world. Your soul came into this form as whoever you are in this moment. And that is your authentic self. And when you compare yourself to other people and other relationships, you take away from your truth. Your authentic self is not going to be found by comparing yourself to other people in the world out there. And the ego is really good, our ego, the collective ego, is really good at trying to compare to other people. And we feel weak inside when we're living more of an external life and less of an internal life. Do you ever find yourself doing that? Living more of an external life and less of an internal life? Because it's so much easier to try to focus on the external to fix that. Well, if I just look better, then maybe my relationship would be better. If I was a hotter body. But when you do that, it's like painting the outside of your house when your kitchen needs to be remodeled. It's really about changing the inside and how you feel about yourself internally. Because when you feel good internally, you can show up as that in a relationship. Authenticity is the key. It's not about faking your way through anything. We're not going to fake our way through an authentic relationship. You can't do that because that's not authentic. And when you align with your authentic truth, you give up this idea of being filtered in life, trying to make yourself look perfect. But a lot of times, those people that are trying to look perfect and have it all together and have it all figured out are the people that are hurting the most inside. And I'm only speaking from personal experience because that's exactly the path I went through. I faked my smile for most of my life, but behind that smile, I was hiding so much pain and anger and sadness because of the abuse that I went through and the trauma that I experienced. But as I started to surrender into that pain and allow my heart to open, these walls came down and I was more available to love. Number 4, not communicating how you want to be loved and understanding how your partner wants to be loved. So something I invite you to do right now, if you haven't already done so, is to be very clear on how you want to be loved in a relationship. And if you don't know how you want to be loved, get clarity on it. And once you figure out how you want to be loved, and you don't have to be in a relationship right now to do this, you can be single and do this. Once you understand how you want to be loved, then you can share that with your partner. But when you have a partner, if you have a partner right now, or if you don't, that's fine, get clear on how they want to be loved. Because everybody wants to be loved maybe a little bit differently. And you have to really understand how you want to be loved and how your partner wants to be loved. Because what's really important here is you may want to be loved totally different than your partner, the way that they want to be loved. And you may be doing things that the way you want to be loved, but that's not really resonating with them. Because we often do things for people in the way that we would like to have love shown to us, in the way that we want to be seen, in the way we want to be loved. So be very clear on how you want to be loved, but also communicate that to your partner and understand how they want to be loved as well. Number 5, People don't want to do the work. And what I mean by this is relationships have the ability to be really beautiful and so opening and so transcending when two people come together in union. It really is a beautiful thing. But here's the thing. To get into alignment can take work. To maintain alignment can take work. It's not this fairy tale movie that we've all been conditioned to believe that relationships are just easy breezy. And people are living in fantasy land, really thinking that relationships don't take work. Having uncomfortable conversations and speaking your truth in a relationship takes work. Setting boundaries takes work. Knowing how you want to be loved and understanding how your partner wants to be loved takes work. Processing your emotions and not projecting your emotions on your partner takes work. Having balance and harmony between your inner masculine and feminine energies takes work. Healing old trauma and wounds takes work. Being triggered and not saying mean, hurtful things to your partner takes work. That is authentic. Being in an authentic relationship takes work. And if you're not willing to do the work and continue to do the work, you will always just be looking for the next best thing. Because once you get through the honeymoon phase, however long that is for you, you'll start to get annoyed, start to get triggered, and you go, oh, maybe this person's just not good for me. And you'll walk away and you'll leave and you'll abandon the relationship. And of course, there is many times where there is no wrong or right answer and you just leave and that's fine. But if you're always just quick to leave because you're not willing to put in the work and lean into your discomfort and embrace the relationship, the love of the relationship, then how can you ever have a strong foundation? When you want to have good water, you have to dig a deep well to get to the rich, beautiful, healing water. If you just want to dig shallow wells, you'll never get down to that rich water. So when you're willing to lean into your discomfort and embrace the relationship, at some point you're going to be able to drink that flow of healing water. It takes a commitment. It takes being committed to the relationship. And commitment is scary for a lot of people. I know that's something I struggled with for a very long time. Being committed to truth, being committed to love in the relationship can be very scary. But I'm telling you, what grows from that is something so beautiful, something so divine. And you find yourself not as energetically drained because you're not scattering your energy all around. And you're committing into this union, this divine union, coming together in this relationship and putting your energy into it. And you watch how it grows. It's like growing a garden. The more you focus on growing that garden and the love pouring into it through the consciousness, through the communication, through the truth, through being authentic, that garden starts to blossom. And sure, there is a huge thing to be said about being in alignment and not forcing love in a relationship. That is a huge thing. When you force love and connection and romance in a relationship, it's really oftentimes not meant to be. If you find yourself forcing yourself into the relationship, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, that's because you're normally out of alignment. And if you continue to force it, it eventually just kills the romance and the relationship altogether because you start to feel like, what is going on here? Number 6, and the last thing that I have, which is another very important thing, is not establishing the energy you want to bring into the relationship. And when I say energy, I'm talking about the masculine and feminine dynamic. Now, you've probably heard me talk a lot about masculine and feminine energies, but a lot of people, including myself for a very long time, are very unaware that they have both masculine and feminine energies, but most people identify more with either the feminine or the masculine energy. They have a core sexual energy. And if you show up in the relationship as masculine, but you're actually feminine at your core, then that can cause huge conflict because you can start clashing energetically and eventually you start to repel each other sexually. And that can cause huge, huge conflict. And it's the same thing goes feminine. If you are acting feminine, but your core is masculine, and you start clashing feminine, you're repelling each other energetically. Your energy fields are literally clashing and fighting each other, and you're repelling each other energetically. But when you have harmony and flow between your masculine and feminine energies, you create electricity. You create polarity that creates beautiful harmony and union between those two energies. Now, if you're not clear on your natural core energy, I have a really quick and easy quiz. It's totally free. Just go to jakewoodard.com/quiz to take this. It's a 15-question quiz to help you get clear on your natural core energy. And when you know your natural core energy, now you're like, okay, well, I'm feminine. And this is just an example. I'm a feminine being, so I would work better with a masculine person. Or I'm a masculine person and I would work better with a feminine person. And you'll see how the dancing of polarity works so much better between the yin and the yang energies. They complement each other. They're not fighting each other for power or leadership. Or if it's a feminine, they're fighting each other to be emotionally seen, emotionally heard. So yeah, that quiz is jakewoodard.com/quiz if you haven't already taken it. I just want to once again thank you so much for listening to this episode. If it brought you value, please take a screenshot of it, share it to your Instagram story, and tag me. It would mean the world to me. We're about to hit 1 million downloads, and I would love for your help and support to get me there and help us get there. It has been such a beautiful journey, and I love you and I appreciate you. Once again, stay open, stay loving, and stay connected to that beautiful source within you.